everyone? Welcome back to the Wright Play, episode 8. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the incredible Masters this afternoon. What a finish to a historic event and weekend. It was just the final round was nothing less than dramatic and awesome. And my hat goes off to Rory McIlroy with such an amazing victory. Well deserved. He's now the 6th player in pro golf history to win a Grand Slam, which is pretty iconic. It's taken him some years, but he's finally gotten that green jacket. So, way to go, Rory. And shout out to all the other golfers. But Justin Rose played absolutely hot today. 10 birdies in the back 18. Something like that. That's nuts. You know, there's nothing like a unexpected person coming out of the woodwork to just like put a run on Rory's money. And you know, Rory's win was a resilient win. I mean, he's playing incredible golf this year, but the fact that he pulled that off was quite impressive because you know, he didn't play the best the whole game. I mean, he played he had some shots that just didn't go his way, and he played really hot in the first 9, and then the back 9 he was you know, having some good hits and then saving the day on others, and then had some hits that went in the water. But that's golf. That's why you play the game. So, but you know, I was watching this and I was thinking about the idea of two philosophies, two mindsets in doing anything. But the idea of playing to win and playing not to lose. And there's a delicate balance between the two. And you could see in moments today when you were watching Rory that he was playing to win. And then you could see on other shots and other holes when he had more of a cushion, he was playing not to lose. So the question is, how do you balance that? And I think that it all comes down to circumstance and situation and experience. And you figure it out along the way. But it was just absolute tightrope for him at times. And you know, the commentator Jim Nantz said at one point that Rory was working on his ability to take adversity. You know, he feels like he could take it better. You know, shout out to adversity. Thank you for being a friend to me. Adversity, yes. If you know, you know, one of my songs. But you know, Rory just he hung in there. He didn't let the bad shots get to him. He stayed going. He just, you know, and even if he had not a great shot after that, he came in. He had a shot on 15 that just was from basically behind a tree that curved in and just was an incredible shot. But I don't believe he even putted it in. You know, he could have putted in and got more of a lead, but you know, he kept going, and it was a mental fortitude victory for him. I think that is apparent, you know, and you know, I think that it poses a question that all disciplines can, you know, respect is, how does the mindset manifest in various aspects of your life, from sports to the arts, playing to win versus playing not to lose, you know? So, I mean, I want to talk about Rory a little bit. Grew up Northern Ireland. Modest means modest. I'm talking father worked multiple jobs to support Rory's golf aspirations. And they were saying today on TV that, you know, basically Rory would hit a bucket of 30 balls and say he wanted to hit more. And his dad would be like, we can't hit any more until next Tuesday when I get paid. You know, think about the kid that gets everything all the time, and then you got Rory trying to do it, and then his dad said something along the lines like, hit him like you're trying to win the Masters. You know, you want to talk about an incredible story and how he just cemented himself as one of the greatest golfers in history. You know, he turned pro in 2007 And he's had major wins, multiple wins, accumulating in this 2025 Masters victory. He finally has a green jacket. And, he overcame setbacks in this whole game. He had a double bogey in the final round today and won the playoff against Justin Rose. I don't think that people are going to realize how close this really was. So, back to the mindset. Playing to win versus playing not to lose. Let's define both of these mindsets first. Playing to win. Taking calculated risks. Embracing the challenges. Striving for excellence. Putting the nail in the coffin. Going for blood. That's playing to win. Playing not to lose. Playing it safe. Playing to avoid mistakes, to minimize mistakes. Potentially missing home runs to get doubles and singles. Getting on base, playing money ball. So McIlroy's final round exemplifies both of these mindsets. He took many holes trying to play to win, and then many shots trying to play more cautious. And it's all about execution. It's all about execution. It's all a balancing act about picking both, but it's about execution and how you could swing for the fences and hit it into the woods. Or you could just play it safe and then still two-putt. So it's like, what's the point, How do these mindsets influence the performance? How do they influence you in art? Playing not to lose versus playing to win. Well, I think as an actor, you got to always play to win. Especially in rehearsal. Play to win. Test it out. Go big. Go bold. When you're there on stage, you want to be playing to win. You want to be with your scene partner. You don't want to be worried about making mistakes. You want to feel confident and roll with it. Overcoming the fear. Taking those creative risks. And, expressing genuine emotion. Being the character. Pushing boundaries. Making it personal. Versus, I don't want to make too many mistakes. I don't want to, I want to do it right. Sometimes you can be going 50 and a 55. You know what I'm saying? You can be going 40 and a 45, 30 and a 45. You want to be on the speed limit or going a little bit faster, in my opinion. But, we talked about this, a couple episodes ago, the private moment. This exercise, when done right, is encouraging actors to fully inhabit their roles without self-consciousness. It's kind of telling yourself it's okay to play to win, and it's okay to just be. It's actually saying to yourself, you don't need to play to win and you don't need to play to lose, you just need to be. But giving you that confidence to go full. In music, you want to take creative risks. You want to express these things. You want to try it because guess what? You can just re-record or redo. I think that Rory, what we can learn today is that the ability to recover from setbacks is, I think, a combination of playing to win and playing not to lose. You want to win, but the setback is a loss in your mind. You're like, I missed the shot. I hit it in the. It's when your emotions get in the way, and you can let your emotions get. If you have them, let them fuel you. I remember playing basketball, and you got to let your emotions fuel you to some extent. You just can't become victim to your emotions, and that's when you play not to lose. It's if you combine both of those ideas after a mistake, you've created something called mindfulness of performance. And that is, I think, how you cultivate success. And this is how you bounce back from a bad golf swing, bad golf shot, miss the basket, not, do a bad audition or whatever. This is the key, is to figure out what works for you and not be hard on yourself, but use your emotion to win and not to be dwelling. I've dwelt. And everyone does to some extent, but don't do it. Combine, I'm playing to win and I'm not going to play to lose. And I know that if I feel like I've lost, no, I haven't lost. I need to regroup. That's when your ceiling is playing to win. That's Michael Jordan. That's Michael Jordan winning the, hitting the game-winning shot over Utah in '98. Playing not to lose. You got to lead with 15 seconds left and you're up by 3 and you don't need to go to score. You keep the ball away from the opponent and let them foul you. You feel it out. And in your art, it's all a feeling thing. I know I'm making a strong, parallel, but I'm trying to draw a line between art and sports and mindset. But if you're following along with me, I think that you're getting what I'm trying to say. So, and I think a lot of this, and this goes back to Rory, is his environment and influence. He is residing in Florida, Jupiter, Florida, living among the best of the best golfers in the world. Constant motivation, constant exposure to high-end competition. You don't think that these guys are out there playing, $2,000 a hole, $10,000 a hole, whatever. They're playing for money. They're trying to get better at golf. They are focusing on the craft. And these guys are competitive people. So as an artist, what do? I think you got to be competitive with yourself. Yeah, you got to be competitive with some of the competition, but you got to be competitive with yourself. You need to say to yourself, there's no really, actually, you got to be competitive with yourself. You can kind of know what's going on out there, but it doesn't matter. When you get a role, it's your role. And when it's your time, it's your time. And the point about, some people are on longer than others, some people aren't, but the point to stay on is that you are getting better, 1% better, plain and simple, every single day. You're not worried about, where somebody is in Hollywood on their journey. They got completely different circumstances than you do. You need to be worried about, how can I be 1% better? So how do you do that? Just like Rory, being this great golfer, living in Florida, around all the other golfers, find your community. And that, surround yourself with supportive, ambitious individuals that can foster growth in a winning mindset. And you want to be one of the worst in the room. You want to be playing with people that are better than you, because then you will become a better artist. You want to be working with directors that have vision and stuff like that. This is how you become better. And, I think that it's all about practice too. Rory did this virtual golf league all winter, off season. It's embracing change. It's working on, okay, how do I use technology, AI, etc., to become a better actor? What kind of podcasts, what kind of books do I need to read? What kind of other things do I need to work on? I also think that it's important for artists to cross-train. It's important for artists to do, music, paint, athletics, something, and use those muscles. But it's also important for an artist to go out and live. an actor that spends his whole life in the theater, how are you going to relate to real people if you haven't experienced real things? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to go out and do some living. J. Cole says it. Sometimes I got to go out and do some living and then come back. He said that on one of his songs on, the, I don't remember what album it was, but it was in 2001. It's got fire on the cover. So, as an artist, you need to go and live. You need to go and do these things. You need to work on your craft too, but take time, work on some stuff, become a better artist. But then when it's time to put it away, put it away. Go and learn another language. Go and pick up an instrument. Once you get the basics of figuring out how to act down, then you got to go and do that, man. Can't be, you need to connect with real people because people want to see real to some extent. So, leverage innovation, figure out life, go and live, go and experience what's it like to, really feel butterflies in your stomach over someone. Or, what it feels like when you finally have created the perfect chord, and you hit the chord just right and on the guitar, and you're a rock star for a split second. You can take that into the role. So, and other artists, go and act a little bit. One, you realize that it's very simple, but it's incredibly hard to do. And two, you realize it's how to speak to other actors, how to give direction better, and you become more confident storytellers. It's all cross-training. The athlete that does 3 sports is a well-rounded athlete. And then when he focuses on one discipline but still has those others in the back pocket, he takes what he learned, takes the balance, the subconscious, and the physical, movements and the balances and the imbalances, and takes it to the other sport. It's just how it builds on each other. So let's go back. Key takeaways. I know I'm rambling a little bit, and I know that it's getting late. It's almost midnight, but recognize when you are playing to win versus playing not to lose, and strive to adopt a proactive, courageous approach. Resilience is crucial. Develop the ability to recover from setbacks quickly and maintain focus for the long term. Environment influences success. Surround yourself with individuals and put yourself in a setting that is going to challenge and inspire you. I lived in Portland, Maine for years after college. I was not inspired. I didn't have any individuals that inspired me either. Getting a little late, but the tongue and the mouth are still working. I swear, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take that the wrong way. Anyway, you got to surround yourself with the competition. Friendly competition, sportsmanship, not like I'm gonna cut you at the knees like Tanya. This isn't that competition. This is, I want to become a better artist, which is essentially saying I want to become a better version of myself and a more expressive version of myself. Surround yourself with people that are going to inspire you. And embrace innovation. Keep working on stuff. Keep living, keep practicing, work smarter, work harder, do it all. Enhance your craft. And if you enhance your craft, you'll enhance your performance. So that's basically it. I was really inspired watching the Masters. It was a resilient victory for Rory. DeChambeau had the game right there. He was with him for the first 9. Back 9 really kind of struggled to put it all together, but a lot of those shots could have gone one way or the other. A lot of those putts just were slightly off. And Justin Rose definitely today had the hot hand. 8 or 10 birdies in the back 18, I think. I hope he gets a chance to win a green jacket next year. He played excellent. So I will leave you with a quote from one of my songs because it relates to all this. Life is like a game of golf. Every shot's a new play. You might walk the same course, of course, but today is a new day. And that's from Lion in the Morning, SSRI album. That is it. I'm out. It's almost midnight, Sunday night. Anyway, this has been The Right Play. Thank you. I will see you next time.